One of the concepts which I would also very briefly like to touch upon is the concept of Soma. With the moon comes the silent, blissful nectar that is released out of the pineal gland that is there in all of us, in our physical body. And that gland, that pineal gland, has been talked about in thousands of years old wisdom traditions all across different cultures in their own different ways. Believe it or not, I'm not here to tell you to believe, but just as an interesting thought, if that would be the case, how much of significance and implication that could have in your life. What is that pineal gland? First of all, it's considered to be in the center, behind the center of your forehead. So if you take a straight line passing through your center of your forehead, and that straight line, that horizontal straight line, meets the axis of your spine, and that at the point of intersection is where the pineal gland is in your head. And what is considered is that out of this pineal gland there is a secretion. That secretion in Eastern traditions was called as Soma. When that secretion happens, it creates blissfulness, it creates that ecstasy, that bliss which has been talked about in all the yogic traditions, in all the wisdom traditions. In the Western traditions, it was called as Hauma, so different sounds to the same connotation, to the same object. And the origin of this tradition is where it belonged to the meditators. This belonged to the yogis, where those yogis, those meditators who would be spending time in deep meditation, they would be experiencing the secretion of this nectar drip by drip, which would create that pleasantness, that bliss in the consciousness, and could also take the person or the meditator from the ordinary states of consciousness to higher states of consciousness. And this was another purpose why there was so much emphasis and practices, and the entire art and sciences developed to trigger how we could tap into this internal alchemy that we all contain. Even to that extent that this internal alchemy was replicated in what could be found in plants as psychedelics, and there has been a lot of research done on the psychedelics where different molecules are being tested as replicating the experience of Soma, the experience of this blissfulness. We don't need to go into those alternate states of consciousness and the psychedelic experiences that come along with those altered states, but just for the sake of today's meditation, for the special evening, for the special night that we have here for meditation today, I thought of sharing the background of Soma with you, the energy of the moon with you, because what we are going to do as meditation, a practice, is to somewhat stimulate that energy, somewhat bring that coolness, that blissfulness of the moon energy of Soma into our lives. And if none of that makes sense, if none of that is relatable, just remaining in silence, just remaining in awareness is enough.